Okay.
Most of you are aware that you live in a reality parallel to many versions of your universe. I've gathered you all to save your world.
That does not look good. You got that right.
2, 1.
Not to spoil the comics, but I think one of the Supermans does something really dumb in the comics. But
are you talking about? I think I know what you're
You can
talking
skip
about.
that.
I think
But don't skip
the
the part.
work in this movie.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's like the setup for like a later crisis, though.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just stop on this image here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This will be our still image. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
What do we want to say about this? I mean, this is the premise. There's like some kind of crisis that's facing not only one Earth, but the infinite many Earths that all these Justice Leagues exist
Multiverses, even.
In a multiverse. And they have to do a lot of things as a result to like kind of set up the crisis, but also introduce the concept of the multiverse of Justice Leagues, but also introduce the different characters from the different Justice Leagues and whatnot. And then also set up the future installments of like what's going to happen next in the series and whatnot.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does like a lot at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's pretty entertaining, but like honestly, if I didn't already have like the gears in my head turning of like, oh, this is what's probably happening now. This is what's probably happening now. This is what's probably happening now because I know I've heard a million of these stories before.
Yeah.
Then like I would probably be much more lost as to what's happening, and I have to watch it over and over and over again.
I feel like,
but like this is the first time I watched, I'm like, oh, okay, I know this. Here we go again. Like this is like a multiverse thing or something, and like that kind of thing. And oh, this is the Flash doing his thing or whatever and stuff like that. So, yeah. So there's that. But that's the premise. And yeah, general thoughts.
I felt like, just to cover it, like in the beginning, it was very confusing because I didn't know this was a Crisis on Infinite Earths film in the beginning.
Wait, what do you mean? Like why? Because you couldn't tell
because it was just the
what's
Flash
happening. Yeah, they slow burn it. Like I think they slow burn it.
It's just and then after that, just Justice League versus Lex Luthor.
Yeah, they slow burn it. They slowly introduce it to you scene by scene, and then eventually you're like, oh, I guess this really is like something involving like Crisis on Infinite Earths and stuff. So it's like kind of an unfurling, but you have to be patient. It keeps you waiting a little bit. So like it's like, oh, okay, it's finally getting interesting a little bit too. It's like some of it plays like a little bit like an episode of a regular Justice League thing. Yeah. As if, like, you know, it was originally part of a series that, like, they just got to shove into a single movie or something. But, yeah, and some of it's, like, a little, like, yeah, but, like, when it gets into this stuff, it gets pretty interesting with the concepts. And it does all kind of build to something, which is, I like about it.
I feel like there's,
like, a lot of payoffs for things. Like, oh, that's why they were setting up this character. That's why they're setting up this storyline. That's why they're setting up this
At the end, it all makes sense,
Yeah. So you have to kind of be patient with it. How long is it or so? Like
it's only 90 minutes.
It's only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But like the first like maybe like 50 minutes of it is like set up and like it's kind of slow. But
I actually don't know.
It kind of like I don't know. It feels like 50 minutes or whatever. And then later on, it's like oh now they're like actually getting into the.
And then I guess the second movie will be better.
Yeah. So they're kind of encouraging you to rewatch it and stuff because there's references that I think if you watch it again, you're gonna get the references and stuff. Yeah. So like, yeah, the multiverse stuff is cool, and yeah, I think there's one main thing I want to say about it.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, they do have like some more conventional like, you know, heroes fighting villains kind of stuff going on, but the main core of this movie. In this Crisis on Infinite Earths is that it's about superheroes working together to fight something that's not just about punching their way out of something and like some.
There's not a lot of fighting.
It's not a lot of combat oriented kind of stuff going on. It's about a lot of thinking and a lot of science and a lot of like, you know,
a lot of character development and relationships and stuff.
It's kind of like a puzzle of a movie, you know, and like about like figuring out a solution to an intractable problem. So in that kind of sense. You know, a lot of heroes thinking, scientists trying to work on a problem. It's a little bit like, you know, people working on climate change or Oppenheimer.
It's
or
a
something
disaster
like that.
movie.
It's like a disaster movie where they're trying to solve a
An
disaster.
apocalypse movie.
And like, it's not even a disaster that like, you know, you're seeing this wave here and stuff. Like, if you think there's gonna be like, I don't know, it's not like a crisis where like they're fighting like something they gotta punch or something. So it's more like, you know, a sci-fi kind of like disaster movie where they're trying to solve like, it's kind of like Deep Impact or something, you know.
Armageddon.
Like Armageddon, you know, where there's like a meteor happening or something, and they set up on a big scale and stuff. So so and like it makes me think of like, man, this kind of reminds me of like, what if we had to like assemble the Justice League to solve climate change or something, which would be interesting. But I don't know if they've gotten to that in the comics yet or something like that. Now that would be an interesting episode of Justice League, in my opinion, because I hope they think of some good answers.
Actually, since you took that from me, like you did say,
were you about to say that basically? Or
I think I gave you that idea.
I was already thinking it very early on.
Well, you forgot to mention something. It's sort of a spoiler in the movie, but like one of the worlds actually does address that.
Like what kind of thing? Like
the climate change thing.
Oh yeah,
There's your idea too when you saw it.
It's like a throwaway reference. There's like
it's not even that throwaway. It's like by the end you're like, wait, so you saved this world?
Well, like I mean, because some people messed up. Yeah, but
it felt there's moments of this moments of this felt like the Flash with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, it's honestly...
Most of this felt like
the
Arrowverse. Most of this felt like a Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah.
Does not do anything original, I don't know, but like, it felt like he was trying really hard.
Yeah. Okay, we're in an ad break. Alright, we're back, and we do have the microphone on this time, so that's good.
I have no idea.
Alright, but yeah, we're just reviewing Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
And we just watched part 1. We still have to watch part 2 and 3 as they're coming out.
3's not out on Max yet.
3's not out yet on Max? Okay, cool. So we're
you buy the DVD.
We're just riding on it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And yeah, very cool. Speaking of heroes and villains, like this is like all the heroes put together. You got all these cameo appearances.
Is there a villain for this?
Is there a villain? I don't know. You could argue a tsunami might be a villain or something like that. It's not a humanoid thing or whatever, you know.
You can change it up. That antagonist, yeah. Sometimes you can say like time or space or something or nature.
Yeah, nature. It's a force of nature, I guess. Yeah, like I mean, like what I was telling PRpHD during our break is that the thing I liked most about this is that like, you know, it's like as if like it's a group of, even if you had the world's greatest group of superheroes and stuff, like taking on like forces of nature and stuff isn't just something that like, you know, the guy with the fancy guns or like the laser vision or whatever can do and solve like with super punching and stuff like that. You need like ingenuity, you need science, you need
people in real life.
These are the things that people solve in real life with real world crises and stuff. Like world hunger was a big problem for a long time. Climate change is a big problem. Like AI is a big problem. These are like kind of intractable problems, and it's kind of like when this is coming out now, I think it's like coming at a time where we are working on a lot of these problems which are pretty intractable, that like we would ideally like to have some resolutions to, but you know,
even we're curious about part 3.
It's not straightforward how to solve these types of things, and like there is like a, you know, I'm not gonna say anything what happens in this, but they're setting up like parts 2 and 3, and
it's like a world that's affected by climate crisis or whatever it is. I'm like,
we fucked
when
up.
Part 3 ends, is that world still gonna have a climate crisis?
Yeah, I don't know what's
like,
gonna happen.
Come on, like.
Yeah.
That's not a happy ending at all.
Also, there's like all these mechanics they set up that's like, oh yeah, by the way, you can't bring in any more people now. And like, why is the metal men here or whatever? Like, they're here, and like some rando people are here for some reason. Like, what are they helping out with here? Like, oh, we might need them. I don't know. Like, you know, it's like those memes where you get, or like you're playing like a video game where you get, okay, it's gonna cost us this many units to bring in these heroes or whatever. It's gonna cost us this many units to bring in these heroes. So, yeah, like I mean, there's people in the real world. Like it's reminding me of people who are actively working on climate change now in our world, or like you know the Christopher Nolan movie Oppenheimer or something, or like people working on like the cure for cancer or something like that. And like, as you know, honestly, like knowing people who've like gone into the sciences and stuff, they're the type of people who watch like superhero things and like movies like this and stuff. And I'm just picturing a couple of them like, you know, watching this like. You know, they're home late from work one night. They just want to put on Justice League, and then they kick back, and they might just be like dozing off, and then they're like their mind's churning on like the next solution, and then maybe it hits them how to work on this problem or something, or like you know, hopefully parts 2 and 3 help them out with that too. But yeah, I feel like it's pretty useful to have media that also speaks to problems that aren't just like, oh, we're gonna like punch a guy and that'll solve all the problems and stuff, but like, you know, like wealth inequality, how do you solve that? You know, how do you solve like so many of these problems that like, you know, have with a peaceful resolution that uses ingenuity and kindness and collaboration and cooperation and stuff like that. Those are the real solutions we need, and I feel like this movie's trying to like get to that and stuff like that. Yeah.
Even people who hate The Flash with Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck had a point.
Oh yeah, you could have done more.
It was like, what was it? I forget. It was like,
you know, this here, like the Ben Affleck Batman.
And just solve healthcare crisis or whatever.
Like he had the lasso of truth on him, and it was like, you know, I really shouldn't be punching guys. You know, I should actually be doing more to increase the social support system with like like so many more problems would be solved with resources were allocated a certain way, or if that was like. Or like, you know, that's one way of doing it, where like Batman, you know, works on that willingly. Or then there's the opposite version where it's like, you know, for better or worse, it's like, you know, those memes of like Superman in that one animated movie where he's like talking between two different nations, which I shall not name here right now. He's talking about these two nations at conflict, and he's like, you will resolve this conflict or you will face my conflict and stuff like that. And, you know, hopefully we don't have to have resolutions to conflict like that from Superman or anything like that. So,
I haven't watched that movie yet.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. But, I don't know. I feel like this is kind of like making me think about like how, as this movie's coming at a time where we're dealing with these kind of like intractable problems that aren't solvable through like brute force, you know, like it's making me think about like how comic book heroes came out around a time of like where there was like literal military conflicts happening, and it felt like the only way to solve problems was through brute force and whatnot, and like having a hero who could solve the problem through like beating up like a guy or punching him, that was like really cool. But like nowadays we're facing problems where like the problem isn't like punching somebody, the problem is like working together with people and trying to solve a problem and not causing more conflict that way. And now we're seeing heroes go into like this era, this kind of era now in the 2020s, where like now they have to work together to try and find solutions and stuff. And I don't know, that's not something that like you typically associate with like, you know, superheroes and whatnot. And like when I see superheroes, I sometimes I do find myself tuning out a lot. Like, how much do we need to see heroes beating up people more? You know, when's the last time we saw a hero like, you know, solving world hunger or like creating world peace or things like that? So I don't know. That's why when I saw this, it really hit me. Like, yeah, it's got this like kind of convoluted, you know, time travel, multiversal travel, 5D travel, 5-dimensional travel plot or whatever. But at the same time, it's like speaking to like, it's hitting some notes here for me where it's like working on like some really, I don't know, interesting things where we're trying to find superheroes solving problems that are really hard to solve. So that's what I like about this the most. But, you know, who knows? I think maybe I'll be disappointed with parts 2 and 3, possibly.
It's possible.
Very possible. Because, I did happen to glimpse some of the Rotten Tomatoes. So maybe I'm a little nervous, but we'll see. We'll see.
I haven't watched, so I'm pretty good.
I'm pretty hype on this part 1, though.
Yeah.
So, And yeah, we'll see part 2 and we'll report back on that. Do you have any thoughts? Any additional thoughts?
I said something though. I didn't really. I thought Batman and Question had a pretty cool moment.
Oh yeah, they're like tag teaming on the monitor. Cause like you gotta wonder like
The realism, yeah.
like come on like, oh yeah, all your worlds are gonna be destroyed and you have to solve the problem. And like, how do we know you're not causing the problem, buddy? Like, how do we? You teleport us all here against our will, and you're telling us to solve your problems for you. How do we know to trust you as a baseline? And like that's kind of their role is to be skeptics, and you kind of should have that because like sometimes superheroes can be a little too like, oh yeah, golly gee guys, let's all work together and stuff. But it's good to have somebody who's gonna be like thinking a couple steps ahead of everyone else, And then other people, and then once they said that, people are like, yeah, that's a good point, yeah. Why are we listening to this guy? Yeah, that was a good moment. And then they're also setting up relationships and stuff, and like setting up how like there are these character dynamics where like, oh, there are these moments that have diverged from other people's timelines, and like people are wondering what if things went a different way in their timeline, and now they're seeing the consequences of that in someone else's timeline. They're like, wow, this could have been a different life, or like this is a different person I could have talked to, or something like that. And and I think that's leading to like an emotional core to things too. And there's the 5D stuff, and there's also like the cosmic world building elements happening at the same time. And I don't know, very, very, very comic booky, of course, and probably of little value to people who are not interested in like DC comics and stuff like that. I don't know. I had a great time because like I was a fan of like Justice League growing up on Cartoon Network and all that. All the Justice League characters on Justice League and Justice League Unlimited from like the Bruce Timm-verse, Paul Dini-verse and stuff like that, and various movies and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm into that. Yeah. But yeah, now it's time to like have those things pay off and like figure out how they're going to solve some tough problems and whatnot. Cool.
I guess we get out of that. I was going to talk about like the different Supermans and the different Wonder Woman. Well, I guess it's fine.
Oh yeah. What was it talk about? Yeah.
Yeah, there's two different Supermans, and then
I
think they both actually had a Lois, but like one was older, so like Lois had passed away in that universe, so he just moved on. Yeah. And I guess Wonder Woman doesn't have to be American anymore.
Oh yeah, they set her up as Greek in this, I believe.
I don't know if it's Greek or like
she has an accent.
Yeah. So
yeah, and like you see the different Supermen with their different relationships and stuff, and they're like, oh, you're doing that, and then like, oh, this is the wrong Superman I'm talking to. And like,
should I spoil that for you?
And they set up like Batman's alternate reality with different relationships, family relationships.
Earth 1, I think.
Yeah, I honestly lost track of who was Earth 1 and Earth 2.
Yeah.
Earth 3 I kept track of pretty closely.
Yeah.
That was like this is not a big spoiler. There's like a crime syndicate universe in this. They're in the trailer, and I think they're kind of fun as like a stupid evil Justice League.
Some of the dialogue was weird, like, here's my lasso of submission. I was like, heck?
There's a
cringe-worthy dialogue in this, what was otherwise a pretty interesting
There's some stuff is just fan service or whatever, like, it's just, appealing to, like, the hardcore DC fans or whatever, and, like, I don't know, the acting and animation can be a little wooden at times, sometimes. It's like, sometimes I saw, like, one time, like, there was a zoomed out shot, and I just saw, like, people cheering at a certain moment. They're like, like sometimes they cut back on the budget at certain points. But, like, that was kind of like how a lot of DC animated stuff is nowadays. And has been for a while.
Like, the Earth 3, like, crime syndicate was, like,
they're like
people, but like
they're
after a
evil,
while,
but like they're just straight up dumb. Like they're just idiots. Like I don't know. Like
is that what's so admirable about them? I guess
I don't know. They're just kind of goofy. Even I feel like I couldn't take them seriously at all. Like I feel like if I'm picturing like a crime syndicate Justice League, like this should be serious, like scary and stuff. I didn't feel scared at all. Maybe they're trying to tone it down or something.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe they really want young people to be able to watch this or something. I don't know. I felt like a little way too toned down. Like I want to feel like a little something more from them. That's a good point. And I don't know. Like, yeah, there's I mean, there's, you mentioned it multiple times. There's the Atlantis Earth and stuff, and like there's an Earth that's ravaged by climate change. And it's Atlantis. It's all owned by like the kingdom of Aquaman and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a fun throwaway, and it also ties into the story a bit too. And like it's like, oh, we're thinking about this too. People watching this, we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's like part of the story, but yeah, I don't know. It's not a super big part, but I mean, there's too many different Earths to like integrate them all. And also the metal men in this too. And,
what universe are they?
I have no idea. They brought up people from all the different Earths and stuff. There's only mainly 3 Earths they focus on, really. And then like there's just a bunch of others they just throw in there. But yeah, it's mainly 3 Earths.
You also get confused by the 2 Mr. Miracles being right next to each other.
Oh yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of random there's like hundreds of cameos like in single shots and stuff like that.
Oh, the Legion of Superheroes is interesting.
Oh yeah, Legion of Superheroes is in this. It's kind of like very comic booky because like you're like, oh, I got that reference and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah, so like there's a lot of references for the fans of like different DC animated shows and stuff like that. Because they probably, I think they do want to reference the comics, but they also do want to reference a lot of stuff that's been represented in like DC animated form in the past, just so like they have a certain amount of the audience. They don't want to get like throw in all the really mad obscure heroes and stuff that like people are
they
like
have a budget.
Yeah, they have a budget, and they also want to crowd please people, and they want people to have some grounding for what they're watching and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, very entertaining. Yeah, can't wait to see part 2.
Yeah. It's a max. We'll enjoy it.
Yeah, thanks for recommending this, by the way. I wasn't necessarily going to watch this on my own, but...
yeah, I know. I was waiting a long time for that. Rewatching Mad Max Fury Road, and now it's like Furiosa is almost out, and then Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've watched it on Geneva's Discord. I'd like to watch it a few more times. It's been a while. Oh, I've even really rewatched Blue Beetle and some stuff we haven't watched in a while.
What on Geneva's Discord?
I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm on Geneva's Discord before.
Oh, okay. Cool. And let's just, while we're mentioning her, let's just give a shout out to Geneva Lee. Right. We're big fans of her Twitch streams and her Discord. Very fun streamer. Does retro streams, does themed weeks, watches movies on their Discord. Very educational. Very high quality streams. Yeah. Made partner this year. Yeah. Twitch partner this year. Yeah. And last night was playing a lot of Balatro. This week is Cheat Week. A lot of card tricks and stuff like that. Very, very fun and watchable and entertaining community. Please check her out. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else?
That's it.
Cool. Yeah, it's like 9:38 now p.m. So yeah, and 3 hours 3 minutes into the stream. So all right, let's wrap up. Yeah. And let's play ourselves out with I guess we will skip the writer's room this time. But yeah, let's play ourselves out for good measure. After this ad for plus 500 futures or whatever. Let's ignore that. Alright, so let's play ourselves out. Hey folks, hope you had a good time. This was the Mudita and PRpHD stream, signing off at August 15, 2024. Today's theme was Heroes and Villains. We talked about a lot of good stuff. Thanks for tuning in, Drew Koo. And we did not promote this enough. But yeah, shout outs to Wonderville NYC for doing some good movies on Second Best on Fort90 TV. And shout out to Geneva Lee. And joining me was PRpHD tonight. I'm Mudita, your host. And the link to our Discord will be shared soon. And stay tuned on the Discord for the Notion document for all the details there. Hope you had a good time, and we'll see you next time. Till then, we're dancing the night away. there's still more dancing. Any taglines? Any quotes of the night?
Speaking about, that's fine.
What are you gonna say?
We skipped the city film thing, right?
Oh yeah, I guess so.
I guess it doesn't matter. It's whatever.
Alright, stay heroes until you live long enough to be a villain. Oh gosh. Don't die. That's terrible. A terrible nose anno. Is there anyone we should raid? I'll send the invite to the Discord now.
Sure.
What a what this is gotta be a bit you know what is it? Big responsibilities for big heroes, or big heroes mean big responsibilities. What's the line again? Great responsibility goes to great powers. Great abilities mean great responsibilities. Great. What is the line again? Great expectations mean. No, that's Charles Dickens. What is?
It's 9:36, man.
What is it?
That's fine. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Just really messing with you.
Okay, what is the
With great, fuck it, you screwed me up now.
great
With
with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, we have one viewer. Who should we raid with one